How you doing? Corey Winkoff here, Program Director and 2022 FLG Boys Coach. I'm going to kind of take everyone through here the third step of our open clear, and the purpose of this third step is trying to create that 6-on-5, so hopefully we can get some great shot opportunities in transition and get some shots off early and often. So we're going to start with that ball right here on the box side with this defenseman, and we are going to assume that this midfielder who just stretched over the midline is going to get possession of that ball. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is kind of the different players on the field. So the players in black are going to represent the offensive players. All right, the players in red are going to be the defenders in the hole. So you have 5 defenders in the hole, and then we're going to hopefully have 6 players getting into the box to play offense. Now this defender here on the back side who's getting the hole to try to even things up can either be a long stick midi, depending on how they're riding us, or it could be a short stick. So if we were playing offense on this end and we lost the ball, sometimes what teams will do is they'll match up their short sticks with our 2 shorties and hopefully get off the field. But because of our clear and we have those 2 shorties opposite the box, they might be in a position right here where they have a short stick getting back in the hole. Now, again, the ball is right up here with this midi who has just stepped over the midfield line. He's closest to the box. The first thing that we're going to emphasize is getting ahead of the ball. So in order to create that 6-on-5, these 2 midfielders on offense who are off ball cannot stand still. They have to get ahead of the ball and get into the hole and get ready to play offense. So that midfielder is going to crash. I'm going to represent it with an orange line here. He's going to crash right into the crease right there, always looking back and seeing the ball. This midfielder here on the back side is going to get to a spot where he's going to be a threat. So I'll redraw our guys. So we have a crease player and we have a guy on the back side. Our defenders naturally are going to guard the guys that are the biggest threats. So we'll kind of move those 2 defenders into the hole here. And now that midi who's clearing the ball is going to start advancing it into the box, starting to put some pressure on that defense. He wants to attack the middle of the field and hopefully make these defensemen make a decision. Now, not only getting ahead of the ball is not only important for the sake of kind of getting and taking shape of our offense, but it's really important to create space. So because this midfielder here who was stretching crashed to the crease and this midfield got into position to be a threat, that gave a lot of space for this midi who's carrying that ball into the box to kind of create those options and initiate a dodge. Now, if your first option is to get that dodge off, and one thing that we emphasize at FLG is either dodging down the alley or dodging for a sweep. So let's talk about that first situation right here. If we attack the middle of the field and decide to draw this near defenseman and dodge down the alley to either get a shot off, right, or make something happen and draw a slide, these attackmen have to start moving. We can't be stagnant once we initiate our dodge in transition or even when we're playing 6-on-6. This near side attackman is going to cycle through with that stick over his shoulder. This attackman at X who has his toes on the paint is going to stretch out to be an outlet. This backside attackman is going to quickly fill in that back pipe for that skip look and then quickly filter in towards X, so that way we're supporting the ball and we can quickly cycle it through X. Right? Anytime we dodge down the alley, we always like to tell this crease midfielder to pop opposite the box. This midfielder is going to follow the dodge for a catch and maybe a shot, or most importantly, and this looks usually there, when we throw back, this defenseman is now in a position where he has to guard 2 guys on the back side. So if he steps in and draws that defenseman, we might have that midfielder on the crease popping for a shot, or we might even be able to step right down the middle of the field and get a shot off. So there's our first option, dodging down the alley. Our second option, as I reset our players here, is going to be sweeping across the middle of the field. Now, anytime we sweep across the middle, our rule of thumb is the same for this crease midfielder. We're going to pop opposite the dodge, and this midi right here is going to push down the alley to a shooting spot. Again, attackmen are still responsible for rotating, whether it be rotating in our traditional style where he comes across the crease or reverse rotating. Attackmen can't be standing still. You have to occupy your defenseman and be a threat at all times. That's really important anytime we dodge in transition. Now, if that dodge isn't there or we decide not to go with it, we have another option, which is that pass down pick down. So typically with the pass down pick down, we're going to kind of create a 2-on-2 matchup between these 2 defenders this attackman, and this midfielder. So when we pass down, we always cut the middle of the field to get out of the line of sight of this defenseman right here, and then we're going to come and set that pick. Now this attackman is dodging to the middle of the field to hopefully his strong hand. He can see everything that's happening on the field. He can look back. He can look to the backside. He can look to these midfielders who are hopefully getting into spots where they can catch and get a shot off or catch and make something happen. So pass down pick downs are really effective in transition for a couple of reasons. The first reason is a lot of times defensemen aren't typically ready for a pick in transition. Usually defensemen have time to call them out. Usually it's when the ball's coming from out of bounds at X. Usually it's in more settled type situations. So setting those picks in transition is a really good way to kind of throw off defensemen. Another thing is, typically you have a lot more space to work with, so it's a little bit easier to set up picks and pass down pick downs in transition. So it's a really nice opportunity to kind of create that two-man game while we have all this space right here on the near side. All right, so our third option as we kind of play out of this 6-on-5 is going to be just simply cycling it through X. And when we cycle it through X, we always talk about with our attackman keeping that stick to the outside. We talk about the importance of V-cutting, and we talk about being catch ready and shot ready. So if I'm this attackman right here and I catch it, I'm going to quickly swing that ball to the backside and hopefully re-attack. Catch, pass ready, dodge ready, and this attackman is getting to a spot where he might be able to catch and be shot ready. Right, so that's just simply cycling that ball through X. This middy's getting nice and high, and now that last piece is kind of getting into our offense. So at FLG we have a couple different sets that we work out of it, which we'll get into in future videos. But for now, this is kind of a resemblance of our 1-3-2 pop motion offense, which we will definitely elaborate on and talk about a little further. So hopefully these were some useful tips in terms of creating a 6-on-5 in transition and getting some easy shots out of it.